second. When is mine today?
Welcome to the Cafe Cabaret. And before I introduce his wrongness, I just wanted to do an impression of him.
Steve, what's up there?
You are beginning to bore me because you don't pay me. You don't pay me. You don't pay me.
Is that all? Phil Silver's corpse would have gotten a better introduction. And now, live from the grave, ignore the maggots that are eating up Phil's eyeballs, but here he is, Phil Silvers. Come to Bolivia in the Anorexia Islands. You will lie in the fine white sands in your bare feet because we will have stolen your shoes and eaten them at the airport in Bolivia. Where the natives are so anorexic, you can fold them in half. Hey, drink Guinness beer and be slender and suntanned, not fat and full of skin cancer. Only in Bolivia, in the Anorexia Islands, official home of the Miss Universe pageant. Yeah, I belong here. When I was growing up, our family was poor, but dirty. We used to go from door to door. And beg the neighbors, pardon me, can you lend me a cup of paste? Never mind the cup, I'll eat it here. I'll eat it here. I'll eat it here. I'll eat it here. Does anybody here fill out their resume? What's on your resume? What's the last job on your resume? Quick. Don't think about it, just answer. No job, unemployed. Okay, big U. Cool, love it. Well, I fill out my resume. And here's how it reads. This is my resume. It's mine, you filthy queer. Do you understand? It's fucking mine! Get your filthy fucking hands off me! Now! Needless to say, I got the job. And this is it. Downstairs, Red Cross. Upstairs, the most intelligent comedian in the universe, the wrong hero. Why is it that every time they advertise a comedy show in this lousy little hamlet, they say, Boston's brightest comics? Like people go out to see stupid comics? What would the plasticine comedian be like? Glad I got that off my chest. Well, I've had a lot of jobs, and I'm going to have to talk fast because I'm talking my way out of yet another one, even as you watch. I worked at a place across the street from Purity Supreme. It was called Filthy Midget Mart. And they didn't sell snacks, or milk, or juice, or cigarettes. They sold whips and studded dog collars and other filthy, vile midget things. Evil midgets toiling in their subterranean basements, doing unspeakable things. Unspeakable! So I'll let that topic rest. Then I got a job at a place called, if you're not gonna buy anything, get out! job in a restaurant. Because my daddy always told me, son, work in a restaurant and you'll never go hungry. And I said to him, Dad, what if I work in a coffee house? Will I always be nervous? And then I got a job writing children's books. Sit down there, Swamp. Take a load off your feet. Take a load off your mind, for that matter. Especially if you have a brain in your tail. I got a job writing children's books, but I got fired for using the word poop. Well, actually, I got a warning for that. Then I turned in Winnie the Shit. That's when I got fired. What can I say? Then I got a job working in a bank. And this is the music that they play in the background. It's a heavy metal bank. You want some change for that $50, sir? Not enough echo. Like if you put up a whole bunch of echo, right, then I'll be totally unintelligible. Which I am anyway because I'm talking too fast. I got a job working in a bank, but I got fired because one day I came in and I was stoned, and a nickel fell out of my pocket. And I said, "Get back in my pants, little brother! You're with the big boys now!" But I said it rather loudly and upset the customers. Then I got a job working in a sweatshop. We sold sweatshirts and sweat. Then of course I commuted out to the Satellite Dish shopping mall and got a job at the Class Warfare shopping mall. First I worked at Proletarians Are Us. And I used to say, "You can't pay me enough to wait on you hand and foot, fatso!" So I got fired. Then I got a job at Bourgeois Hut. And I used to say, "I'd like to help you now, but I'm working on my novel, which is about 3 generations of my immigrant family." And I got fired. So then I got a job at the Rich Store. But I told them where I prepped, and it wasn't acceptable, so I got fired. So then I got a job at Timothy Leary's Crazy World of LSD.
Our prices are insane! They're psychotomimetic! An army cheap, 1 cent! A piece of lint, $15 million!
Only at Timothy Leary's Crazy World of LSD. I was in demonstration then, I think. I don't remember. Then I worked for a temp agency. Artistic Temperament Temps. Everybody who worked for them always came in 15 minutes late and demanded double the pay for half the work. And I worked for a series of law firms. I had to clean my mouth in advance. I worked for Pitt, Brevity, Terse, Sullivan, and Laconic attorneys at law. But none of them would talk to me, except for Sullivan. And he never stopped talking, so I had to leave that job. So I got a job with Burgle, Bundle, Leach, and Steele attorneys at law. But I was too honest, so I got fired. I wouldn't sign my name to the widow's bank account like they wanted me to. Then I got a job at Metonymy, Synecdoche, Metaphor, and Simile attorneys at law. But their case docket was too abstruse for me to comprehend. And then I went to work for the children's attorney, Derry and Down. But they were also cheerful. They're a family man. I'm a reclusive, bitter loner who spits out his hatred at society because of the perceived slights, which are totally imagined. And I got a job at High Muckety and Muck attorneys at law. Didn't keep that too long. They were just a little too hoity-toity. Then I got a job at Freude, Scherner, and Gotterfunken attorneys at law. But it was kind of hard to deal with Beethoven on their sound system all day long. And then I quit law and I got a job at Random Violence, Marketing and Research. But when they offered me the Hitler account, that's where I drew the line. So I had to leave them. So I started working for the How'd You Get My Name subscription service. I got sick of asking people how much they earned when they didn't even know my name. So I quit. And I got a job with Corrupt Power. Their slogan was, corrupt power corrupts absolutely. 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 Couldn't deal with that, so I worked my way up to Hiroshima Pathogens, doing business as the B9 Corporation. My conscience started troubling me. They were like asbestosis lawyers, but they were fighting for the asbestos companies, so I had to quit. You know, I couldn't deal with it. You know, we went on a field trip and we played on a mountain of asbestos. You know, we were wearing the masks and everything. We were trying to prove that asbestos is harmless. You know, then we smoked some Kents from 1952 just to round off the day. That got too hazardous for me. So I got a job at the fly-by-night travel agency. But when I reported to work on Monday morning, they were all boarded up. So started working for Erotica Autos. I sold Volvos, mostly. Actually, they sort of sold themselves. And then, as the grand climax of my career, I got a job with Myopia Corporation, also known as the 2200 Group. They manufactured lens caps, eye patches, and firecrackers. They were diversified. My first day on the job, I discovered that the president of Myopia Corporation was a blind man. Imagine that, a blind man as president of a major corporation. Seems as though one of his employees was swinging a lit firecracker on a string around his head, and the president decided to poke his nose in just at the wrong moment, and it blew up in his face, and he was blind. And that employee was demoted. Well, I said to myself, it's a decision world, and I've got to start making some big decisions. You see, everybody was afraid to tell the blind president of Myopia Corporation that his clothes didn't match. Well, anyway, I figured, if a blind man can be president of a major corporation, then think of what I, blessed with the gift of sight, could accomplish. So I started pretending that I was blind. I started out slow. First I pretended I was colorblind. Then I worked my way up to the smoked glasses and the white cane with the little red stripe around the bottom. And before too long, I started thinking to myself, I'll bet you half the people in this corporation think that I'm president now, because who ever heard of two blind people in a major corporation? Sure enough, they all started mistaking me for the president. Pretty soon,
I stole the company right out from under that blind man. That blind bastard never saw me coming.
by the time he figured out what was happening, I sold his seeing eye dog to cover my expenses, and I married his nurse. I said to myself, Myopia Corporation is now the fattest asset in my portfolio. It's a decision world, and I've got to start making some major decisions.
What do I care if a foolish blind man should die?
Well, no sooner had he breathed his last than I sold his company right out from under his estate for pennies on the dollar, and I invested the money in East German Deutschmarks because I figured that the communists would take over and I'd be sitting on a gold mine. You see, I was pretending to be blind, so I didn't read the newspapers. So boy was I surprised to find that Germany was going to reunionize and I'd be left out in the cold. Truly, I was the blind one. Well, my wife divorced me. She said, I never knew what I saw in you anyway. My German shepherd bit me. I was out on the street. I had to live in a dumbwaiter, in total darkness.
Where'd you get that red star?
It's gone now. No more foolish questions. Actually, this segment is called Quotations of Chairman Hero. So I thought that the star would be a good leitmotif. Anyway, to end the story, now my clothing doesn't match, and everybody is afraid of me. And I got a job at Ethanol Incorporated. They sold nothing but 200 proof liquor, Graves, corn liquor, and jugs with XXX on them. Then I worked my way down to the bottom. Hire a wino. They paid us in Muscatel. Oh, wait a minute, I haven't hit rock bottom yet. Then I was in a band. They were called the Street Beatles. We used to do songs like,
I wanna hold your purse,
and
a taste of vomit, tasting much sweeter than bile.
now I'm a comedian at the Wednesday open mic. And truly, I think I've gone as far down as I can go, except wait! Maybe they'll move me to Saturday, and then I'll truly be as low as the hero can go. I'm a spokesmodel for imaginary products, like the Mask of Destiny,
Cleopatra, Hitler, Einstein, Stalin, Jackie Gleason, Jackie Mason, Jackie Kennedy.
They all had one thing in common. They wore the Mask of Destiny. And now for $20, the Mask of Destiny can be...
Wait, no, I'm keeping it. It's mine. You understand? Because it's...
The Mask of Destiny. And now this word for oppression perfume. Only half as humiliating as fine, degrading scents. And oppression cologne. It smells like a horse collar. It smells like a horse collar. And now this word for Malcolm X-ray specs. Imagine actually appearing to be able to see through white hypocrisy, only with Malcolm X-ray specs. And this word for the Clark Kent School of Mild-Mannered Journalism. Did you ever wonder when a baby dies, how you ask the parents for a picture of it that you can slap on the front page under a lurid headline? Well, now you don't have to worry anymore once you've graduated from the Clark Kent School of Mild-Mannered Journalism. Applicants are encouraged to wear the same drab three-piece suit with a white shirt, red tie, and blue motif in the shirt and jacket. Only at the Clark Kent School of Mild-Mannered Journalism. And now it's this word for Leona Helmsley Medical Art. I'm a felon. And I can't get off. And now, we belong dead. Mix.
Do you have an 800-pound, half-dead thing constructing in your basement with bolts in his head?
Well, Frankenstein clamors for "We Belong Dead" mix. Frankenstein asks for it by name. This show is also brought to you by Recombinant DNA. We bring things to life. And by Pope Light. Pope Light, slimmer than the fat pontiffs Catholics worship. And Heal, the Bible for dogs. The Old Testament's just one word, sit. And the New Testament is 2 words,
Good boy!
and also the Bible for children. The Bib. The Old Testament's just 1 word.
No!
And the New Testament's also just 1 word.
Because!
And by phlegm. Can't get enough phlegm at home? Tired of reading about phlegm Snopes in your Faulkner collection? Well, step right on up. Instant phlegm. Just add water and honk. And by the penis. Made for a woman. But men like it too. And by ozone. What's the matter, honey?
I can't breathe! There's no oxygen in this room!
Here, try ozone. Ozone has an extra oxygen molecule in every breath.
But I'm allergic to salt!
Well, try salt-free ozone. Also, new peppermint. And by heartless shelters, where heartless people go to hide from the homeless. Heartless shelters. And by Anarchy Light.
Only half as destabilizing as the leading brand of chaos.
Say, being a small, struggling third-world country, 90% of whose inhabitants must go on foot and subsist on a ration of 3 pounds of rice a month? Well, you'll go for it. Anarchy Light. Also try H-Bomb Light. The toy H-Bomb that works like a real one. And now this word for Canada. Canada. Party country extraordinaire. How's my French? Ice is free, and vomit freezes before it hits the ground. And they have a 99% literacy rate.
And nothing to write home about!
Dear Mom, it snowed. Love, Pierre. And now this word for
A man's ice cream! Are you tired of going to Toscanini's and Ben & Jerry's and all them other fancy joints and getting those la-di-da, Tweedledee, lifted pinky type of ice creams? Like Cherry Garcia and Save the Fucking Whales and Rainforest Delight?
Well, come to a man's ice cream store.
We ain't got sissy flavors like that. We got Mexico City car exhaust fumes, gasoline rag, Corona with real flecks of tobacco leaf, boiled veal,
Ow. And our flavor of the month, Neil Young, petroleum jelly and rust. Come in next week for our Wiener Schnitzel and marshmallow surprise. And now this word from the Carrot Council. Carrots. They improve your vision at night.
Just when you need it the most! When you're asleep!
And now this word for apples. An apple a day cleans your teeth.
So does a hand grenade! What's going on here?
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
The doctor away. Keeps the doctor away. Keeps the doctor.
What kind of fruit keeps the policeman away? That's what I need to know!
And by Brussels sprouts.
Evil little cabbages sent by the devil from hell to torment us all of our days.
And by fake news. A cookie is just a cookie.
But a swayback cracker stuffed with seedy crud is called a fig Newton.
And now this word for coffee. Coffee. Drink it. Unless you're like me.
And you already have a bitter taste in your mouth from staying in the morning. Then fuck the coffee.
And fuck the gourmet coffee too.
Gourmet coffee is coffee for people who still wish they used drugs. They're addicted to the ritual. They walk into the coffee connection, weak Joel paintings. Woo, 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 woo. Ah, I'm hallucinating. Voices green and purple.
Give me a cup of mocha java, please.
Oh boy, now we'll finish all that decataloguing in record time.
Excuse me, sir. You're wearing a hole in the floor. We're sending money to Tiananmen Square. We don't want to go there. And now, it's time for Quotations from Chairman Hero. Let X equal your signature. Why are you still illiterate? And now this word for advertising. The Stalinization of commodities.
If you have enough money, you can stick your evil facsimile everywhere the people go.
Hey, what about that placebo light? It has only half the fillers and inert ingredients of other placebos.
That placebo's giving me a stomachache.
Try placebo light. It does less than nothing. That's why we charge twice as much for it. And now this word for rock and roll. Thank God for rock and roll.
Oh,
That's not a real good idea.
Sorry about that. I wanted to get a little action in here. Thank God for rock and roll. Rock and roll blasted the Berlin Wall.
because rock and roll is capitalism in 145.
Consume, 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 consume. Fornicate, fornicate. Die, 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 die. I am a celebrity. And all we celebrities share one thing in common.
We want you out of our way.
Don't drink at our water fountains. Don't stand in our lines.
Don't try to use our VIP lounges.
Because we're celebrities. And we want you out of our way. And now this word for the deficit. The deficit. Half-asset backwards financing. Only in the United States. The 70s were like the 20s with good drugs. And the 80s were also like the Trump 20s. With fax machines. And the 90s will be
The evil opposite
of the 60s. It's been coming for a long time. Mark my words. People will wear shirts with necks that cover the tops of their heads. People will wear love beads everywhere except around their necks. They won't ring the Liberty Bell, which has one crack in it. They'll ring the slavery bell,
Which is cracked all over, except in one place.
in the 90s.
The 90s. The 90s. The 90s.
And now this word for WNO2. We'll stand behind you here at WNO2 for as long as we can stand. And now, more quotations from Chairman Hero. Rodney King, a lousy driver. Moses, the first stand-up comedian. Henry Kissinger, the only president besides Kennedy who wasn't a Mason. Yale,
A think tank surrounded by a snake pit. If the people in Yale are so smart, how's come New Haven is such a shitty place to live?
ask yourself that. Christopher Columbus, crummy navigator, sort of like the Rodney King of his day. 1491, the last good year for the Indian. Cinderella, Frankenstein in drag. And now it's Roger Hammerstein's Cinderella with Frankenstein in the role of Cinderella. 10 minutes ago I crushed the villagers. Do I destroy them because they are human? Or are they human because I must destroy? Play the lottery. Don't try to get ahead on your own head of steam. You'll never make it, you hopeless worm! Pin your hopes on a 1,000,000 to 1 shot. It's high in the sky before you die. The lottery. Say, do you want to have children but you're afraid? Practice on your pets. But don't breastfeed your puppy in public. The neighbors wouldn't understand. Or better yet, adopt a midget and work your way up. Now this word for television. Autism in a box. A bland, euphoria-producing medium designed to sell bland, euphoria-producing commodities. Only on television. Books, television for wise guys. You think you're pretty smart, don't you, reading that book? Why don't you read a book about how to make some money, huh? Why don't you read a book about how to spread a piece of toast with a piece of cold butter without getting toast crumbs all over the butter? Why don't you read that in a book, huh, Mr. Smart Guy?
Why don't you read a book about stand-up comedy?
Chapter 1, Makeup. That's when I stopped reading that book. Thank you. I may wear a dress, but I will never wear a makeup veil. And now this song about my pimples. Camito, Camito, where you been so long? I nearly went and squoze you. And now this word for the Alps. Come to the Alps, a big pile of rocks that rich people like to go and gawk at. The Alps. And when you're traveling to the Alps, take the SST. Supersonic transport. Rip holes in the ozone layer, Mr. Fat Cat Big Shot. Give millions of people skin cancer so you don't get jet lag. Because one American is worth at least 400 miserable Tierra del Fuegans and squalid Eskimos smoking lobelia,
Eating rendered caribou fat.
and now, this word for automation. Automation. Faster. Stupider. Automation. A boulevardier is a sex maniac with a fancy French name. A hipster is a respectable bum. Bureaucracy is democracy backwards. Families, totalitarians are us. I used to be a communist, then I had a baby, and now I'm a fascist. Business, the religion of selfishness. Churches, mausoleums of faith. Politics, sports for people who are too fat to run and too stupid to care. Gettysburg, a Confederate Woodstock. Kuwait, Switzerland with air conditioning and slaves. Academia, a grave, and a shallow one. A university education, $25,000 a year, spent on how not to puke in public. But if I didn't go to college, I wouldn't have cerebral hemorrhages. I'd have stupid hemorrhages. Hemorrhage is so stupid they can't even spell their own names. And now, this sensitive and totally sincere environmental message. Save the whales.
Some people say that they're big, fat, stinking, blubbery ingrates vomiting their ambergris on the world's oceans and not even bothering to clean up after themselves and getting stranded at remote, inaccessible Arctic outposts and expecting Aboriginal Eskimos to rescue them.
But that's not true. They expect United States Marines to rescue them. And now this word for Zorro. Some people say Zorro was a fascist who was too stupid to make a swastika. But it's not true. Zorro is a fictional character. Some people say citizens are suckers who can afford to pay for the mistakes of others. I'm not going to argue with that. Some people say that multinationals are armies with a credit line.
We will ask for a line of credit one more time,
And then it's corporate takeover time. Some people say that the service sector economy is infinitely preferable to the serfdom sector economy it replaced. That's moot. A word which academicians use when they don't want to admit they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Some people say the American Revolution was fought so that plantation owners could drink cheap tea. But there's a lot more to it than that. It was also fought so that they could have cheap labor in the form of indentured servants and slaves. Some people say that Anglicans think they're smarter than Catholics, which is quite a distinction. Catholic God, Jesus Christ. Anglican founder, Henry VIII. Compare and contrast. Oh, I'm dead now. Which gate should I go through? The Jesus gate or the Henry VIII?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat chicken legs with my bare hands. I'm gonna smear the fat of rendered caribou all over my face and murder 6 of my 8 wives.
That's my idea of heaven. Some people say your Boston is a hamlet blown up to poster size. Some people say your New York City is hell, but at least all your friends are there. Some people say caveat emptor means let the buyer beware. I say it means
Your head is a giant sucker. You have the IQ of a ceiling fan.
that's what I say it means. The factory is a shrine, and chances are the man who runs it is a Shriner. 99% of all statistics are wrong, including this one. Some people say that a bugle is just a kazoo with delusions of grandeur.
Some people say a banjo is just a fiddle for thick-fingered, fumbling dolts.
I can't play the bugle or the banjo, so I don't know. Some people say that an elevator is a sterile dumbwaiter for people too lazy to climb stairs. Some people say that juice blends are the lazy man's cornucopia. My girlfriend is an existentialist. So I gave her a disengagement ring. I tried to give her one with an artificial diamond, and she said, "That's nothing but a carbon copy." Some people say that ballet is aerobics for panty waists. It's not true. Ballet is hard, and aerobics is inexplicable. Some people say autism is a game that one can play. Some people say masturbation is the poor man's Nintendo. I say that the moon is a giant ovary. And that's why we shoot rockets at it. I'm the wrong hero, comedian, spokesmodel for my own ideas, which I am delusional enough to think are funny to some. Perhaps I'll have to I've only set on low intensity. Now we'll try higher intensity. That's not working. Oh, it's not.
Jamaica Plain setting.
That one's from the Southeast Expressway. Brookline Village. You ever drive through Brookline on a Saturday night?
What is this, a fucking pedestrian mall?
I don't know.
What right do those people have to live so well? To actually sit on park benches and talk to their neighbors on a dusky summer night?
None. I'm the wrong hero. I filled out my unemployment form in 4 different colors of ink. And now I'm getting disability. My apartment came furnished. Which is great, you know, because I wouldn't want to have to go out and buy cockroaches. My apartment smells like kitty litter. The hell of it is, Every time I take a piss, the toilet seat falls down in the middle of it.
Even when I'm pissing outside!
I did my laundry the other day. My laundry is like my sex life.
Takes 12 hours, happens twice a year, weighs 200 pounds.
I have a riddle for you. Why do clowns have big feet? So they can stay up after I punch them. I'm the wrong hero. I used drugs in college, but I only used them several thousand times. Smoked crack in college, didn't exhale. You ever notice how people on drugs notice everything? Nice. Vomit. It glitters. Makes me want to
Dance!
Whenever a policeman stops me on the road, I like to play a little game called Nice Victim, Mean Victim. Top of the morning to you, officer. What's a police superintendent like you doing patrolling the beat? I clocked you doing 70 in a school zone. Why is that? Well, to tell you the truth, officer, I was pretending that the accelerator was a policeman's head.
Because I was sucking on a cube of LSD, and I wanted to get home before I melted!
Officer Coffee and Donuts, sitting in Dunkin' Donuts at 4 in the morning and picking your ass. Sir? And he said, let it go this time. Those people with those baby on board stickers. I got a sticker on my car. It says,
I have no children and my life is meaningless, so go ahead and run me off the fucking road!
then there's folks with the ask me about my grandchildren. Children. I saw an old man with one of them little stickers on his car. It said, ask me about my grandchildren. So I ran that old man off the road. Because my car had a sticker on it that said,
It's not your grandchildren who do 45 in the passing lane! It's you I'm gonna ask about!
Gramps. Got some bumper stickers on my car. Got a Braille bumper sticker. Says, if you can read this,
You must be blind!
got another one that says, I break for the Whiskey Rebellion. David Koresh is my co-pilot. I break for compound fires. Ask me about my eternal torment. And my favorite, honk if you've betrayed our Lord. You know, they say that God is in the details.
And I wish he'd get out of there because I've been waiting for 20 minutes and my kidneys are singing Anchors Away!
You know, you can't love God unless God loves himself. There's something else too? God is wishful thinking. I hope. And now this word for Christianity.
Say, pagans, tired of painting your bodies blue and worshiping oak trees? Try Christianity. Christianity is the only religion that gives you free gods in one.
house was built on the site of an Indian burial ground. How do I know this? I don't know. Maybe it was the flint arrowheads.
And maybe, just maybe, it was the peyote buttons in the shape of bingo markers that tipped me off.
I don't know. In my secret identity, I'm a journalist, and I wear the shoulder pads on my knees. What I don't understand is,
Journalists think they have the right to tell the government how to run the country, and yet
they write for mass circulation periodicals that peddle alcohol and cigarettes to school children.
shitfire. That's the way I run the country. Sure it is.
Say, kids, drink light beer. Drink 3 light beers. Don't get whiskey dick like stupid old dad. Drink 3 light beers and you won't even fall off the swing set. Light beer. Suck on this menthol cigarette. It tastes like carbon monoxide sucked through a candy cane. But you'll get used to it. We hope. I guess the time has come. But I'd like to alert you to the exciting programs on next week's agenda. Dr. Medicine and Mr. Drugs. Exciting Boredom, the sequel. Anti-Disneyland, featuring a hashish-intoxicated Goofy's soliloquy. Married with Hoover. And of course, the Doris Day, Jerry Lewis, Sergeant Carter for Preparation H spectacular.
Pile!
Are you calling me Sergeant?
No, it's these hemorrhoids!
Why don't you try Preparation H?
Hey, it works!
Shazam!
He came up with a good idea for once, Pile!
Surprise, surprise, surprise. And Mr. Athlete. Why do they call you Mr. Athlete? Actually, I'm Mr. Athlete. I have a list. And Ray Charles for
Syringe and soda! You got the right one. Baby, baby, baby. Ah, that's the right one.
And now this word for excrement. Feel like shit? Chew excrement. And sacrament. Gets the smell of choir boy off your breath fast. Sacrament. When I was a kid, the black kids and the white kids used to fight for control of the stereo during lunchtime. The white kids wanted to hear Blue Velvet, and the black kids wanted to hear Edwin Starr's War. So lunch would sound something like this.
1, 2.
She wore blue.
What is it good for?
Velvet.
Absolutely nothing.
Wah, wah.
Say it again. Wow.
I'm the wrong hero, and I must part. Because you are beginning to annoy me. You make me nervous.
Nervous.
Because you're evil.
want to use all my material, even though there's only one person in the audience who is neither preparing to perform nor doing the sound, and he just performed. But anyway,
There it is, the audience. Follow that out of the audience.
I'm gonna. Well, before I introduce the wrong hero, and now that I have the stage, and he can't take it away from me, I can tell a few more jokes, like, be articulate, because, you know, it's just a good thing to be. Oh boy. I made a lot of connections in the rock and roll world, and I think that they'll really be able to help me in my future profession of selling hearing aids.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I want to start a band, but I can't decide the name of it. Well, I have it narrowed down to 3. The first is Clinton's Chakras. The second is, did you know there's another world out there, officer? And the third is Mother Hunchin, son of a whatnot. Which I can't explain the origin of now, but I will some other time.
It's from Starsky and Hutch, isn't it? Isn't it?
No, it's from a PBS documentary about the Vietnam War, in which one of Mayor Daley's cops said that one of the hippies, as he went and started punching him, called him, he said on video, the guy called him a Mother Hunchin son of a whatnot. So I guess we can figure out what he was really calling him. Hey, I can do my musical debut here. This is great. Dead airtime.
Watch out, he's coming up.
Well, okay, I won't do the musical.
There he is. He's
Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. Who cares? Okay, it's very short. I'm doing like a 70s Ramones style punk rock song about the 90s.
And I'll translate with sign language.
And it goes like this. Like, you have to imagine that there's Ramones style drums and guitar and everything, but it goes, it's a robot loving. Oh, wait. It's about the 90s, I forgot to say. This song is about the 90s. Okay, it goes, it's a robot loving, let's all come together and chat politely about the weather. Whoa. Well, hey, this is a unique situation. I can actually take time away from the wrong hero. Gee, Francis, it looks like you're only going to have 2 hours left to perform if I keep this up. Uh-oh, he's not feeding me any material. I'm left to stand on my own, incompetent, lack of ability to make jokes. And now he's resorting to the threat of electrocution.
Don't you dare.
This is about par for the course. Here, I'd like to give you a coupon. Good for 1 free submarine sandwich at the Subway. You know, that's where they set Das Boot. Knucklehead. Well, yes, sirree. You must be the famous crowd I've heard so much about.
There's only 3 of us.
And here is my message of affirmation.
Yes, sir. Aye, sir. No excuse, sir. I'll find out, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir, a ding bob, sir. Permission to speak, sir. Permission to die, sir. Sir, to sir with love, sir.
Sirloin, sir. I'm making it myself. Pronto.
How's that for Spanish, sir?
And now, the wrong hero presents the difference between a comedian, a hack, and an amateur. A comedian holds the microphone like this. A hack holds the microphone like this. And an amateur Caresses the microphone.
Look, I'm turning into a fly. I've got a fly sign. It's 164 in the hand.
I'm humble. I mean you no harm. I have no authority, even though my hands are behind my back.
Even though my fists are clenched hard enough to crush a piece of coal into a diamond.
I am not angry, hostile, or belligerent. I am open. Open.
Open.
And even though I have my hands across my chest, I am not treacherous. I'm already master of all I survey. No need for such carnal things in this elevated plane of existence. And now, the evolution of music, an act in 5 plays by the wrong hero. And that was the evolution of worship. I saw a gigantic cockroach mother giving birth to its eggs in the middle of the street. I blinked, and then I realized it was a Volkswagen full of children. I'm the wrong hero. I exert uncanny, hypnotic influence on all of you. And I want you to forget I ever said that. Michael,
What?
music, please. You should have 2 tapes queued up and running continuously. Thank you. That's it.
Will you get that water off the stage? I know you're going to have some sort of nasty accident there.
No, I have
Something level that's not going to fall over, you know?
I have only the most beneficent accidents.
You know you're a clumsy oaf. Well, let's try to prevent bad things from happening.
Oh,
How fascinating. An old English word derived from the German, which dates back to the 15th century. Wow, what a pedigree that word has.
more of a pedigree than the one who spake it. I can see with my X-ray vision that you don't have any fatal diseases yet. I'm working on radiation poisoning here. Don't interrupt. I'm the wrong hero. I like to go to Weight Watchers meetings and leave chocolate-flavored farts in the vestibule. And now I'd like to sing a song by the famous Mr. Elton John. If I were a sculptor, but then again, no.
What kind of lyric is that?
The Ramones.
If I were a sculptor,
Mozart. Hi, I'm Laurie Anderson. This microphone smells like Lipton's chicken noodle soup.
The kind that poor people put into a frying pan, and then they put water in it, and then they boil some gristly old steak in it for about 45 minutes, and then they say, here you go, it's a steak dinner, just like the rich people eat.
I'm sure rich people are accustomed, Laura, to eating polysorbate 80 with their fine cut of sirloin. I'm sure rich people just feast on red number 40 every time they get the chance, Mom. Yep. Poor equals poison. If you want to poison somebody, poison poor people. Because rich people have too many
Michael, could you lift the veil of incomprehensibility?
Well, I'm trying to instruct this guy.
That's great. Give the little feller lessons on my time. I'll tell you what, I got an 8-year-old grandson. Why don't you teach him how to drive your truck, huh?
In front of 100 people here dying to hear you? Come on.
No, but 100 people will die.
All right.
They have failed to heed my
Wait,
admonitions.
do you want me to do this when we have real acts on stage? Ones that we're paying?
And ones which in turn people pay to see.
Is that what you're getting at? I'll have you know, I made $5 last week. $5. That was 10% of the door.
All right, give me $5, I'll shut up.
I spoke to a crowd of 4,000.
Where?
It was an anthill. Okay.
Yeah, I heard that joke once a month for 4 fucking years.
Well, you poor God. It must be the only joke I ever repeated on such a consistent basis. Yeah, all you gotta do is say the same 8 minutes over and over and over until it gets
Or come up with some really cool phrase like, I know, this is Jimmy Walker for Jurassic Park.
Dynamite!
Here's another old joke that you've probably heard once a month for the last 4 years. I have a dog, and he used to shit on the rug, but I got a special newspaper. It had his face on it, and the headline read, Kippy leaves shit on rug. Page 2, editorial, bad dog. And page 3, ads for carpet cleaners. Come on in. It's nice and hot in here. You can return to the primordial soup. Hey, it's a sauna, cream of people soup. I'm the wrong hero, and I know that there's a bullet with my name on it, because it's been going around and signing checks, and now I'm $1,250 in hock because of that bullet. I must say, you look intelligent. You don't have drool cascading out of both sides of your mouth. So I guess you must be intelligent. Well, if I told that darn dog of mine once, Garrison Keeler voice, I told him 1,000 times.
Don't drink out of the toilet until after I'm done pissing!
I belong to Writer's Block Anonymous. Our motto, 1 page at a time. I like to pretend to be a soldier so I can smoke in hospitals and use the expression, our boys. You mean this isn't the audition for Twin Peaks, the movie? The musical? That's a nice cup of coffee. That's a nice cup of coffee.
Somebody stuffed her in a body bag. Who could have committed this awful murder? Guess we'll never find out.
Even David Lynch doesn't know. Bob, it's a name that means killer, Bob. It's the name you don't want, Bob. He will throw you in the ocean and then you'll Bob. I wanted to join the Optimists Club, but I had the word death tattooed on my forehead at the time.
Yeah, but the set time is when it's according to however everybody else is.
And now,
Oh, Jesus, you don't know any better than to walk in front of the speaker.
perhaps I know all too well. Perhaps I have a hidden agenda, pronounced with a hard G, like we
Fascist Europeans like to say it. Ja, ich habe ein Agenda.
and like some of you,
Who like to stand in pointy doorways and talk during nonsense.
I call that an anti-agenda. And now it's the wrong hero for electronic utopia. Leave all your cares behind. In electronic utopia, you don't even have to be able to tell the time. And now, the boy who hated dinosaurs. Let's go see Jurassic Park as a means of babysitting you and to ensure my control over you, since you're frightened of the huge dinosaurs and think that somehow their spirit resides in my anger at you when you don't do as I ask. Oh, Mom, I hate dinosaurs. Just these big old lizards with big teeth. Come on, get serious. It's kid stuff. You're only 6 years old. I
want to see
cyborgs. Can I put your glasses on?
Hey, Dad, can I try on your artificial leg?
Lend me the buzzsaw. I'll tell you what, it's a training leg, right? It's for people who don't actually have their leg chopped off yet, but are going to at some point and want to sort of practice walk. What, you have an artificial leg? Your father has an And now the Reader's Digest presents the touching story of, quote, his father had an artificial leg. For the Reader's Digest purposes, since everything takes place in 1930 or 1920 in Reader's Digest land, which is when its readers were young men and women, my father had an artificial leg.
But man, can he drive that big old Packard like a dream?
And it didn't affect his virility any. Oh, really? How about the chocolate nativity scene?
Bite the head off of Pontius Pilate. That accusing finger that belongs to the Sanhedrin will be down your gullet in no time flat when you get the Passion of Christ chocolate utility scene. I have a bit of advice for you. Never get into a fight in a hardware store. This is a joke that you fill in. Because you see, if you're in a hardware store and you get into a fight, then your enemy can pick up all sorts of gigantic tools and bludgeon you with them. And if you're a man who professes nonviolence, then about all you can do is defend yourself with a child's swimming pool. Ho, varlet! Lay down thy hacksaw, for I'm in search of the Holy Grail. What's the difference between... I'm not trying to dominate you. Honest, I'm not. Even though my body language gives every indication that, in fact, I am. What's the difference between earth, women, and machinery? Machinery stops whining when you lubricate it. I knew you'd go for that one somehow. I was working in a library yesterday, and this guy with these big googly Coke bottle glasses comes up to me and says, "What? You mean you don't have a computer?" That's what they're going to be saying to us in 40 years. What? You mean that you don't have a computer? What do you mean? I had a parent. He used to say, "Polly, want a cracker?" I said to him, "Polly, want a lesson in remedial grammar?" That's what Polly wanted. I'm the wrong hero. I'm the first man of my generation to menstruate. But I wouldn't dream of using my mother's tampon. Well, I dream of it, but I wouldn't act on it. That's the crucial difference, you see. The Wrong Hero Award for Best Performance by the Wrong Hero goes this week, as it does every week, to the Wrong Hero. The Wrong Hero, author of the prize-winning Self-Hurt book, which he refuses to publish, even though it would make him a millionaire, because he has principles. And now let's celebrate Anti-Christmas. Anti-Christmas, when evil dwarves steal children's toys and gather with twisted circus freaks to toss them in a gigantic bonfire while they dance around it naked and laughing! And now this is the Wrong Hero for Fed Up with Phonics. Common phonics? No. Scrabble words.
I missed the fourth one. What was that?
I can't tell you right now, but I think it was And now, this word for save the termites. These termites are 3 days old, and they've never eaten. But if you send just 9 cents a day to save the termites, they can get their high school equivalency diploma, because we'll teach them how to read, and they'll take it from there when they devour your library. But hurry, the termites are eating our headquarters here at Save the Termites. And now this word for non-proliferation of weapons in Antarctica. We wanted to stop. We wanted to drop atomic bombs on Antarctica so the penguins there, for the very first time, can fly. They can fly!
Why do you want to do that? Break the ice?
I think you've pretty effectively broken the ice for me, young man. Say, what's your name? Are you somebody's punk? I was out riding the rails with Hobo Joe from Hoboken. It was hell entertaining guests. Hey, this is Hobo Joe from Hoboken. What are you putting me on? Boom. You know, it's like Neil Young used to take his horse to parties, but it was a horse with no name, and so he was very embarrassed. You know, I would like to say this is a horse of a different color, but actually it's just a horse with no name. He has no self-esteem. His mane is tangled and knotted. He doesn't maintain himself. He shies away from brisk rub-downs.
Eventually went crazy.
eventually went crazy and permitted an overweight jockey to ride him in the Kentucky Derby. Well, all of the restaurant trade periodicals were buzzing with the exciting new horse meat, dog food, take it or leave it, special of the day recipe. Like they say, not all dogs go to heaven. And now, Euro Disney. This week on Euro Disney, Goofy from Morocco explains his philosophy.
I love to see the faces of the tourists twisted with treacherous greed.
Be our guest, spend a lot of fucking dough.
Would you be my roommate?
It's too late.
Thank God.
I ate the last one. Because I love the human race with gravy. And I don't want the white gravy, and I don't want the brown gravy,
And I certainly don't want the yellow gravy.
Red gravy.
red gravy. Because every time I want to hunt, I buy meat. I buy steak for my children. I buy hamburger for my wife. I buy chicken for my mistress. And I buy turkey for my fellow tribesmen.
What are you on, Prozac or something?
No, but I have a riddle for you. Why do people go to flea markets? No, because humans were designed to scrape out an existence in a clan of hunter-gatherers. That's why. These are some quotations of Chairman Hero. Are you ready for this exciting segment of The Wrong Hero?
Did you say zero or hero?
The Wrong Hero.
The wrong hero, he's worse than Nero.
Hey, I thought you were going to smash records. What happened to that?
I don't know if we'll have time for that.
Please.
I'm being obstructed.
Come on, I want to see some old record smash.
Here's where the real show starts. So let's move it on up, boys. He who laughs last is laughing like a filthy hyena. I'll kill him.
Because I'm so angry when I'm cute. I'm sorry, but I never apologize. I don't wear a tie.
But when a funeral procession goes by, I unbutton my shirt and pull it up over my head.
In silent respect for the deceased and
In case the dead guy had some sort of disease.
every time I see the skull and crossbones on a bottle of poison, I always take a little of that poison because I want to be just like that pirate on the bottle. This is not muscle, it's fat. Inside of every thin woman, there's a fat man struggling to get out. Me. I don't want to get married, I just want to get presents. Barely.
There, Al Penn. There.
Is this Sean Penn after Madonna got through with him? I would rather shoot an eagle and miss than throw a frying pan at a skunk and hit him on the bum. Now, if these words were scrolling down the screen, you'd burst into uncontrollable gales of mirth and hilarity at the conclusion of that scintillating punchline. But since it's not, I'm the wrong hero, and I said there's a better way to do almost anything, including this monologue. I'll try to be good. I'd like to tell you a little fable. Once upon a time, there was a farmer, and he had a pet pig, a pet dog, a pet cat, and a pet chameleon. The dog had his own dish, but the farmer favored the pet pig and gave it its very own fur coat. The dog was jealous of the pig and his fur coat, and so he sat in the pig's trough, and the pig grew thin, and his fur coat didn't fit him anymore. And so the dog thought, now I'll have the fur coat. But instead, the pig, who was in love with the cat, gave the fur coat to the cat. But the cat, like all cats, was treacherous and ran off with a tomcat, leaving the pig heartbroken. In order to cheer up the pig, the farmer gave the pig his very own pet chameleon. The dog was jealous of the chameleon and tried to bite him, but the chameleon was hiding on the farmer's leg. And now the pig is fat, the dog is dead, and the chameleon has his own dish. This story has no moral. It was only concocted for your entertainment. And now I'd like to present our sponsors. The Mob Credit Card.
Are you sick of going to gas stations and having to rub shoulders with greasy, sweaty, not even high school educated mechanics, pump jockeys who pump gas all day? Their most scintillating conversation goes along the lines of, nice weather, we're having it, huh?
I say, my good man, would you not lean so close? Has your wife been feeding you garlic lately?
Well, if you want to avoid having to rub shoulders with the hoi polloi,
It's the Mob Credit Card to the rescue.
no human interactions at all. Just gas. Fast.
With the Mob Credit Card. Now it's time for our delightful polka segment. Would you play some music, please? Whatever's in there. It's probably Captain Beefheart, so we'll do the Captain Beefheart polka. Papa. Ready? Hit it. Hey, Mike, put a different tape in there, will you? Anything.
This is how you work the tape. Trainee here.
And now I'd like to present
Direct from Beirut. Right?
the film Barton Fink in 45 seconds. But we have to have the appropriate music.
He knows what he's doing. Trust him.
How you doing there, neighbor?
Don't bother me, fat man. I'm trying to write.
Well, let's let me intrude myself into your life.
I'm sorry, but even though I am a writer with a great love for humanity, I cannot abide individuals.
Well, then I'll just kill that floozy you've been fucking and stick her carved up corpse in your bed. How's that?
And now, that film classic, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, in 45 seconds.
I can't walk another step. Me too. You darn fools! You're standing on a microphone and you don't even realize it.
He's that good, isn't he?
Will somebody kill that old man? He smells bad. The end. And now, that Western classic, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Yeah.
He was the man who shot Liberty Valance. He was the bravest of them all. But apparently not too brave, because if he had been brave, he would have killed him with his bare hands. Sheriff, I want you to arrest that man.
No, it's Gene Pitney.
Well, who is it? Liberty Valance. Liberty Valance? Liberty Valance? You didn't tell me it was Liberty Valance. I'm getting out of here. Wasn't that pretty good, Andy Devine?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you. Outside of my building, there's a plaque commemorating the time George Washington stayed. And it reads, Washington would have slept here, but I was watching the powder-wig, buckle-shoed, wooden-toothed rascal with the eyes of a hawk, so he wouldn't steal my silverware in order to finance the colonial army. I often think of Thomas Jefferson, how he slept with his slaves and sold his children down the river. You know, I think that's my favorite thing about Thomas Jefferson. How did he know they were his? He had red hair. And one of his great-great-grandchildren grew up to be, you guessed it, Malcolm X. So Tom, if you're up there in heaven or whatever hell you atheists burn in, remember, what goes around comes around. You know, while I'm in this serious mood, I'd like to talk a little bit about Lincoln. If Lincoln were to come back today, I think I would say to him, here, Abe, let me pick those fleas from out of your beard. Just once I'd like to see Ross Perot in person. I think if I met Ross Perot, I would say, well, look at that little fella there. His ears stick out like a jug handle. Grab him by the ears, boys. I'm going to make him squeal like a pig.
Yeah, that's a good note.
Thank you. Thank you. Why do people drink Evian water? Because backwards it spells naive water. I am young and innocent and unexperienced in the ways of the world. Now that I've drunk this naive water, I'm even more stupid! You don't need beer to be stupid. Drink naive water. I'm the wrong hero, but I have to admit, I need you, and you need me. Yeah, not really. Now this word for Cosa Nostra condoms, because it's our thing. And Mafia health insurance, because you wouldn't want anything to happen now, would you? And now this bit of advice for the children. Kids, stay in school.
Because we don't want you around here!
And now, Situation Fantasy Theater presents What If Jim Morrison Were Irish? Oh, the time to hesitate is through, no time to wallow in the mire. And if you're not careful, I'll let you light me fire. Oh!
That's pretty good, Fred. That's a pretty good.
And now a riddle in the Steve Iskowitz mode. What do you call a skinny Republican? A survivalist. I'm the wrong hero, and I have a television set built into a garbage can. It saves me a lot of trouble when I'm watching the Fox network. Sort of like a mother and child reunion. I grew up in a family which was lower class, middle class, and upper class. My mother was lower class, my father was upper class, and my sister's pimp was middle class. And I told them that I wanted to be a doctor. And my mother said, there's a job opening at the butcher shop down the street. And my sister's pimp said, medical school is too expensive. And my father said, your health means nothing if you don't have money.
True.
And now I'd like to present the smart young detective and the stupid old policeman. Once you have watched this presentation, there are about 20 movies a year you no longer have to go see because you already know what will happen.
Gee, smart young detective, you sure are wet around the ears, aren't you? You don't got my years of experience on the streets, rubbing shoulders with the criminal element.
Yes, but I have several electronic devices which make you look like a 10th level intellect, and I am an 18th level intellect. Look out, stupid old cop!
Gee, you saved my life. I guess them fancy doodads and thingamabobs of yours really do come in handy.
Let's team up, and then we can subject the indigenous population of this ghetto to a combination of my experience and your forensic abilities, and come to the conclusion that everyone is guilty. Guilty! And now, Situation Fantasy Theater presents Huckleberry Finnegan's Wake, a combination of the two fine classics by the Irish poet, playwright, and author James Joyce and the American bard of The Ways of the River, Mr. Samuel Clemens, a.k.a. Mark Twain. Huckleberry Finnegan's Wake. River Run, past Paps and Nigger Jim's, leads us by a circumlocucious locution to Aunt Polly's house. The end.
Bye-bye.
And now, Johnny Most recites nursery rhymes.
Hey, fiddle, the cat fiddles and diddles down the court. Oh, this is terrible, the cow's jumping over the moon. Here comes Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall. Oh, this is terrible, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Oh, this is terrible. Here comes Chick. He fiddles and diddles down the court. He can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Here comes all the king's horses and all the king's men. They can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this is terrible.
And now, Sophocles and Hanna-Barbera present The Yogi Cycle, Part 1. Yogi Rex. Part 2, Boo Boo at Colonus. And part 3, Scooby-Doo meets Electra. You know, standing here in this miserable, seedy nightclub with all the people who say that they're my friends, but actually would not hesitate for 1 minute to stab me in the back of the head, Jen. I started thinking back about my own first drink. Yes, there I was, stranded in the Swiss Alps, unconscious, buried under an avalanche, and the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was a Saint Bernard dog. And he had a little barrel around his neck, full of an amber fluid. And it was tasty. And so I had a drink, and then I had another, and another, and another. And when I woke up, there were 496 St. Bernards with empty barrels, and the snow was yellow for a half-mile radius. And that's Garrison Keillor for my first drink. And now, Perry Como auditions for the Sex Pistols. Moon River, I don't want to be. Won't work. All right, here's that merry holiday seasonal song. Jesus the snowman was a very happy soul. Well, actually, he was crucified on a gigantic pile of snow, so I guess he wasn't so happy after all. Jesus the snowman, he disappears and then comes back again. Isn't that awfully familiar? It sort of sounds like someone else named Frosty, I'm not sure. He always glad to see you, and he gives you a little snowball, and he says, take this of my body and eat. And he flavors it with his blood. Oh, Jesus, the snowman was a very happy soul. But he'll be resurrected someday. He'll be resurrected someday. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, cut the music, please. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you, friend. I want to thank you again. All the ladies and gentle. That was my Alex Chilton impression. And now, that famous star of the 1960s, right up there with the immortals like Brando, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino. As a character actor, he was superlative and appeared in dozens of half-hour film extravaganzas. I am referring to the one, the only, the beloved Muttley. That was The Many Moods of Muttley, soon to come out on a 45-second CD. You get these hits. And his big hit from the 1968 presentation of Wacky Races, performed at the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. Muttley as Hamlet. Should I kill my father or what? He's not really my father, he's my uncle. See, he bumped off my dad. Poured poison in his ear. Cussum, russum, frussum. And now, adventures in degradation with the Keebler Elves for new Keebler's Chachos. We're making new Keebler's Chachos. We're Caucasian elves, except for the ones who are responsible for this Mexican treat, and they're vaguely swarthy and wear sombreros. We're making new Frida Chachos. We're making new Frida Chachos. Guantanamera, this famous folk song by South American Indians, has been degraded into a mere spectacle of commodity. Because advertising is pornography with better PR. Another Stevie sort of thing to say. And now, Elvis Presley, his offstage life.
Colonel Parker stole half my money. Mama, stop eating them diet pills. I love you just the way you are. Oh. And now that cheered you up, the wrong hero will do his prize-winning impression of a speedometer. That was really like a play, you know. My God's bigger than your God. My God's bigger than yours. My God's bigger because he eats eternity ration.
Eternity ration, except no substitute. Comes in a gigantic, humongo boxcar size.
And the eternal size.
Too big for the human mind to comprehend.
Let alone carry home from the supermarket. Eternity ration. And now, Postmodernist Impressions presents Postmodernist Impressions. A bell. Backwards. And now, the Sphinx. Cheese. A gravestone. I'm the wrong hero, and my life is like a Horatio Alger novel. 150 pages long and full of lies. Some people say working in a restaurant is like being a slave. But you know, I've studied slavery, and to the best of my knowledge, slaves never got sick from mixing orange soda and Pepsi Cola together and then drinking it. And now this word for the wrong hero's sunglasses.
They'll see. They'll all see.
With the wrong hero's sunglasses. A gentleman asked me earlier whether I was using Prozac. Well, my friend, I don't use drugs.
I've got a prescription, and now it's medicine. Don't you get it?
And now the Sherlock Holmes story, told for the 90s. It's Dr. Fatso and Mr. Junkie. Elementary, my dear Watson, elementary. Elementary, my dear Watson. I say, Holmes, you're giving yourself a rather bad rash there with your long fingernails, God knows where, doing God knows what. Now, Dennis, the menace to society.
Yo, Mr. Wilson, gonna knock your dentures right down the sink. Gonna knock your dentures right down the sink.
Now this word for Jesus Christ. Soup.
You tired of chicken noodle, chicken gumbo, chicken god, what have you? Well,
Jesus Christ. Soup is for you. You know, I hate it when my friends brag about their children. What do I have to brag about?
A fabulous stage career.
Here's what I have to brag about. They're talking about how smart their kids are and stuff. And all I can say to that is, well, I left 10 cubic centimeters of my own semen in a handkerchief last night. And it's looking mighty promising for an oleaginous protoplasmic mass, that is.
Is that what it really is?
Well, oleaginous is perhaps too restrictive a word, meaning, as it does, fat.
Well, you've lost a lot of weight since I know.
Well, If this keeps up, I'll lose a whole hell of a lot more. Yes, it's the X-Lax diet.
Shed ugly brown pounds in seconds.
And the 4 beers for breakfast diet.
Brain fat just melts away like magic.
I was trying to rent my apartment, and somebody asked, does it have a working fireplace? And I replied, no, but the man who used to live here smoked a lot. And now, the wrong hero presents a joke so incredibly intellectual that it will probably go way over your head, but he's going to tell it anyway because he just doesn't give a damn anymore. Some scientists from MIT got together with some musicians from Berkeley, and they did a little experiment. They played Beethoven's 5th Symphony backwards at the speed of light. And you know what happened? Beethoven turned into a chimpanzee. Well, in the few remaining minutes which I have, I better talk fast or getting bored. I think I will present a panorama of all of the stars who should have appeared on this stage, but didn't. Bob Hope on Why I Shout.
I was in vaudeville. And we had to project to the back of the hall.
That's right.
That's why. And now, Bill Cosby on why his career is going down the toilet. It's not baddie enough that I appear in degrading commercials for watermelon jello, but I want to buy NBC, even though my bad spin-off of a Groucho Marx television show flopped. And now Rod Serling explains the rationale of the Twilight Zone. Submitted for your approval. A gravelly, chain-smoking dwarf narrating implausible science fiction tales geared to a 5-year-old mentality. On the Twilight Zone. And now, Frankenstein Sinatra. Jack Benzedrine. My girlfriend was watching a documentary about trash, and I said to her, "Are you still watching that garbage?" Garbage? Well, are you? Hi, I'm from Montreal. Up in Montreal, we stand around indoors and talk a lot because it's too darn cold to stand out in the streets and interrupt the street performers. So we like to come into cozy clubs and interrupt the open mic. Yeah, here in Canada we got a 99% literacy rate and nothing to write home about. Dear Mom, it snowed. Love, Pierre. A working vocabulary of 6 words and a 99% literacy rate. But don't get me wrong, I genuinely like you. You give good audience.
Well, I got 4 or 5 people in here watching.
Good, well, you know, Central Square is a great place. Nowhere else in the world do the bums stand outside of your door and say, "It's a good rubbing alcohol."
but it's not a great rubbing alcohol.
I heard that one once a month for 4 years also.
Well, thank you for bringing our audience up to date with just how unoriginal I really am. What do you expect? A superhuman output? New material every single fucking week for 5 years, twice a week? What do you want from me?
So I'm going to wind down in just a moment.
What are you doing now?
I'm checking with Commander Zero. He has your death march orders in a sealed envelope.
I'm ready.
Well, all right, that's the kind of attitude I like to hear. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
I'd like to make some predictions for the future, then I'll smash the records.
All right.
In the future, Islamic fast food. Give me a bean pie. Say, praise be to Allah first. Transdermal junkies. It's the Habitroll patch doll. If your child is addicted to trolls, the Habitroll patch doll enables him to rub its head for good luck and get his fix. In the future, talking sidewalks. Hey buddy, quit bleeding on me. In the future, pet death condolence cards. So sorry your parrot died, but he talked too much. In the future, clones of famous historical figures who do your housework for you. It's Hitler! He doesn't do Windows. In the future, 3D holograms will render thinking obsolete. In the future, electronic ant farms. In the future, everybody who is not a robot will be in jail. In the future, India, the second most populous country in the world, will control telecommunications. Excuse me please, but I cannot connect you right now. And in the future, buses will run on your blood sugar. Get to Brookline with this one. And now, the sensitive segment of the show. Why, it's Jim Croce's famous record, I've Got a Name. With the hits, I'll have to say I love you in a song. I got a name, I got a name, and the name is death. At least for Jim Croce. And now, it's Vladimir Atlantov.
Oh, wait a minute.
I wanted Vladimir Pacificon.
Hiding.
What are you hiding?
Hiding. And now it's this Jewish guy named Mozart.
With his pretentious symphonies number 7, 8, 9, and 12. Get a life, you monkey! Instead of sitting around writing symphonies, why don't you write rock and roll?
Huh? And now, Beethoven's Quartet in C minor. That wasn't C minor, that was B flat. And it'll be flat in a minute after I stomp on it. 25 immortal masterpieces. But not that immortal. And now, Tony Bennett.
Yeah!
And Far Away.
Send them.
The poor man's Frank Sinatra.
Thanks, Frank Sinatra,
Who didn't have a manipulative abortionist mother backing him up. So not only did you leave your heart in San Francisco, you left your corpse there too. Billy Joel live in Moscow. Rock and roll is capitalism in 145. Rock and roll and communism does not mix. Billy Joel. Some Russian records. Volume 1, that's Azerbaijan. Volume 2, that's Ukraine. And Volume 3, Mother Russia. And now it's Vivaldi. Alan Alda, in his movie The Four Seasons, has ruined Vivaldi for all times. Franz Lehar, the Count of Luxembourg.
Russia. Yeah.
I can count to 1.